Hello and welcome to video 11 in our series on How to K2. In K2 blackpearl, there are many changes and improvements over what you knew in 2003, not the least of which involve roles, destinations, and slots. These items are going to be the focus of today's video. Building a process and giving a user notification of a task, allowing them to action it, etc. is very simple, and is accomplished by adding that user as a destination for the activity. However, this type of workflow may not be the most common and may not reflect the real world or the power of K2 blackpearl. In blackpearl, we introduced advanced destination planning and roles in order to provide a high degree of flexibility needed for complex processes. Today's video, as I said before, will be going over different options for roles and destinations in a process. Let's start off with talking about some roles. Much like the groups or roles in other systems, such as Active Directory, roles in blackpearl are groups of users. Unlike other systems, roles in blackpearl can be dynamic, especially if based on smart object queries. Roles are created in the management console of K2 Workspace. A new role is given a name and one or more role items. These items can be based on any of the following entities: users or groups from Active Directory or SQL, results from smart object methods, or other providers as you develop them. In addition to specifying one of the above items for each role item can either be included or excluded from the role. So let's take a look at the workspace and see this in action. As I said before, roles are created and managed in the workspace. Let's go into Workspace and create a new role. We'll call this one HR Managers. Now I need to add an item or a person to this. What I can do is click on Add Role Item and search through the directory. In this case, let's search for Cody, and I can add Cody to this list. You'll also see I have the option of including or excluding Cody from the list. When I specify those involved in role membership, the list is refreshed on an interval basis. By default, this level is 10 minutes. However, depending on your requirements, it may be necessary to have the resolution of roles to be on demand rather than the default interval-based solution. Dynamic roles are on demand and are refreshed every time work lists are open which contain items that use that role. I can make each role dynamic by checking the dynamic box. It will cause every call to the role to be a dynamic call, regardless of the process it is used in. However, you can also do this on specific processes and not globally for the role if you wish. Let's show you how that's done. If you want a role to be dynamic only in certain processes, you can go into the Roles page of the process tree in the Management console. Once there, you can check the box labeled Dynamic next to the interval box. This will force the role to resolve dynamically instead of the interval set. When I'm ready to add destination users to a specific activity, I can click on the destination users icon and go ahead and click Add. And I'm not limited to adding people statically, but I can also pull information from such things as the form itself. In this case, I can browse through the info path form and select a specific field where I'm expecting that user to be. I'm not limited to that. I can also go through, as I've said before, the various roles, users, and groups available to me and use any one or combination of these in my process. If you want to get to advanced mode, go to the destination users in an activity and select the back key. Then check the advanced box and move forward. When you are in advanced mode, the advanced destination rule options can be adjusted to suit your business needs. In addition to the Plan Just Once, you also have the ability to select Plan Per Destination with sub-options of All at Once or One at a Time. These options can be confusing, but are a very important aspect of process design. For more information, I suggest you read the white paper for this topic on the Underground. In the Plan Per Destination All at Once, which can be known as parallel planning, the option works the same as it did in K2.NET 2003. the server creates one activity instance per destination and creates one task item per destination with the rights assigned to each destination for each task item. In plan per destination one at a time, or serial planning, the server creates one activity instance per destination, but does so in a serial fashion, one instance at a time, and in the order the destination sets were designed. When a role is used as a destination, instances are created in the order in which the role membership is returned from the server query, and there's no way to specify an order. However, this will only happen if you have chosen the Resolve All Roles to Users option. If you don't choose that option, then there will be just one instance created per role that has been included in the destination. If an order is required, do not use roles, but rather use individual users and specify the users in their desired order. The basics of this planning type is that the server creates one task item per destination at a time and assigns rights to each task item. The next instance will be created only after the previous event is completed by the previous destination user. The server will not evaluate a succeeding rule on the activity until all activity instances are completed. It's important to note that for both parallel and serial planning methods, if more slots than destinations are specified, the activity cannot be completed without a custom succeeding rule, which will require code in the rule. To avoid this, ensure there are always at least as many destinations as there are slots. Also be aware that these options can seriously affect how your process runs, so you must understand the outcome of the activity planning. I suggest complete scenario testing before deploying a process to production. For the last option, plan per slot, no destinations. This one is reserved for server events and server-based activities. No need to worry about it for client events. Now for both the all-at-once and one-at-a-time planning methods, you will have some additional destination rule options. As we see here, there are several we should take note of. The first one, create a slot for each destination. This option will auto-adjust the number of slots depending on the number of destinations resolved when the activity instance is executed at runtime. For the specified number of slots, this will allow you to specify a fixed number of slots to be created and will override the activity setting. With the Resolve All Roles to Users option, the role is resolved to its members during activity execution, and an instance for each member of the role is created. All events executes once for each member of the role. To give you a little example of this, let's say you have a process where after the client event there is a server event or a SharePoint event or something similar, and there are 5 destinations for that client event, thus 5 copies. That server event or SharePoint event will also fire 5 times over the course of that activity. If that makes sense, let's move on. The next option in create a slot for each role. Roles are not resolved and a single activity instance is created. The role receives the rights and all members of the role can access the task. In the last option for keep roles synchronized, this option has no effect for parallel or serial planning and is mainly a function of how task list items get updated. Keep in mind that Resolve Roles to Users is not compatible with dynamic roles, as it resolves these users just one time when the activity is first planned. Thus, it is just like adding those resolved users to the activity directly, and changes to that role will not update until the activity is planned again. However, you can take a non-dynamic role and select Keep Roles Synchronized, which will update the tasks every 10 minutes, based on a query to the role. One last area I want to go over before the end of the video is how to get some granularity in my destination sets. As we see here, I have the default destination set up for administrator. However, I can set up some rules that govern if that destination set gets used. For instance, some value in the process or value in the form. So I'm going to go through my change management form here and look at the requester details in that form and take a look at what's in their department field. And I'm going to evaluate that to see if it is equal to a value of IT. And if it is, I'm going to say that I want that to use that default destination set. But I can also add an additional destination set called HR and add some destination users to that. And in this case, we'll go ahead and just say change managers. Now I can also add additional criteria to this and go through that same form and browse through the department field, and this time check to see if that value is equal to HR. Now, this case, once that's evaluated, if that's true, it will go to that new destination set that I just created. This will allow me for some more granularity in setting up destination users for each activity. Just some more things for you to play with. Well, that's going to do it once again for this edition of How to K2. I really hope you found it useful, and I highly encourage you to check out that white paper on advanced roles and destinations available out there on the underground. Have a great one.